Hi everyone, how are you doing? It's Archie here from the QTube. Last week I got a chance to jump on a call with four composers that I met during my time in New York City in summer. On this call we reviewed and discussed each other's scores for the newest QTube clip on our library, The Beauty of Cinema. I'm going to jump straight into the call now, but first of all, let me just quickly remind you that you can become a member at the QTube for only £1 a month and have access to our whole library of clips. So just head over to theqtube.com/library to get access and join our subscription. This is quite a long but really good chat, so just sit down, relax, make yourself a cup of tea, and let's listen to what these guys have to say and the scores that they've written for this clip. You want to tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Sure. My name is Alex. I'm a composer, play French horn, and I live on the East Coast, United States. That's about it.
Cool.
My name is Calden Alexander. I'm a composer in the New York City area. Just recently graduated from my master's in composition focused in film scoring. Yeah, that's what's been going up with me.
And I'm Josh McCausland, a filmmaker and composer based out of Brooklyn, New York.
Awesome. Cheers, guys. So you guys, you studied composition, or you studied film, or?
Yeah, I started with classical and jazz piano in my undergrad, and then additionally did composition lessons and partaked in a lot of stuff in the composition department, and then I just realized that was for sure what I wanted to do. And I didn't really think that film was the division of composition I wanted to push, because I just thought there's no way I could do film scoring. That's a purely nepotistic endeavor. There's no way I could get into that realm. But I was just screw it. I love films anyway, so why don't I just try regardless? And so it's been the absolute passion of mine since committing to it like that.
Awesome. Yeah. Josh, what did you study? Was it composition, or was it?
Yeah. No, I was actually technically a fine arts major. So I studied painting and drawing, and then freelance doing video through college, started my own film company, and then got into DP, directing, producing in college, and have been doing that since. And I just kind of always played music on the side for fun. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, I just decided to jump into scoring and learned piano. And yeah, it's kind of an atypical route.
I can't remember where I heard this recently, but I think it was on a podcast or something. They were talking about some of the biggest musicians from the 70s, or 60s and 70s, like the Stones and Pink Floyd and that those kind of guys. They all went to art school, and I think even Brian Eno went to art school, and and they just all turned into musicians, which is it's quite funny. And Alex, you studied composition, right?
Yeah, I studied audio and music production for my bachelor's, and then studied composition in my master's.
Well, let's get onto you guys' scores. I think I'm gonna start off with Calden. You cool with that? All right.
Yeah, sounds good.
There's something special about the cinema, a place where we can escape from the realities of the world and lose ourselves in the stories on the screen. It's a place of magic and wonder, where we can be transported to faraway lands, witness incredible feats, and experience the full range of human emotion. Cinema has the power to move us, to make us feel something deep and true. It can inspire us to be better, to see the world in a different light, and to believe in the power of the human spirit. Whether you're a fan of action, romance, comedy, or drama, there's something for everyone in a good film. And the best part is that you can share it with others, laughing and crying together as the story unfolds before you. So next time you're feeling down or just need a break, remember that there's always a place for you at the cinema where you can find joy, connection, and a little bit of magic.
Nice one. Yeah, I really like that. That was beautiful, man. I think I'll just start us off. I think that was like texturally, it was one of the biggest things for me. It was so rich and gorgeous. Yeah, I loved that. Really, really nicely spotted. Like just the arc of the whole composition was really nice, and like he just hit points like perfectly, I think. It was like so energetic, and it was even like quite busy, but it didn't feel overwhelming to me. Like it didn't step on the toes of the voiceover or anything. So that was really well managed. And then like, yeah, just overall it sounded great mix, great arranging. Yeah. Good
Thanks,
job,
man.
man.
I
Yeah.
really appreciate that.
So good. I feel like a fangirl over here. I'm just like, I think so. Whenever I give feedback, it's always from like the film perspective. I don't come from like the musical world, but yeah, I think you nailed the cues, man. The build up, the like beautiful little piano violin at the beginning. Love those little like pizzicatos as we come up into the black and white section. You like really feel that bass. It's so good. And then those little like flute moments with the car scene. Just like love those little things. And then you brought bringing the motif back at the end. It's just I get like goosebumps when it really comes crashing in, and just such a graceful way to end it too. You just like landed the plane perfectly. So good, man.
Yeah, it was lovely. It was really wonderful, and the film kind of takes you through all the emotions of the cinema, and you nicely hit upon each of them, and very smoothly went and uplifted each part of this little clip. So it was really wonderful. Really great work.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, I feel like some of the points you pointed out too were like concerns of mine when I was writing this, because like I feel like there's always like there's the challenge of when you're writing something for a situation like this, like you're writing it to present, like the main focus is the music, because let's be honest, that's what it is in this 4 composers, 1 video sort of situation. So like I had a balance between, do I want it to be pure underscore and be like an appropriate underscoring for the picture, / do I want to show off compositional prowess, and like how do I combine those two of like being like check out my chops but also make it appropriately underscoring and stuff like that. So I think something that Archie was pointing out where like it was busy but not too much and stuff like that is exactly that aspect of like I wanted to throw a lot of techniques out there but try as well as I could to make it still feel like it's appropriately music that's accompanying picture still.
Yeah, awesome. That definitely came through with me. Like you did throw the kitchen sink at it, but it was appropriate.
That's good. That's
Absolutely.
good. The first 10 seconds are always the hardest for me, because I know that if I'm not inspired after the first 10 seconds of what I'm writing, then the first 10 seconds of what I've written is not what it's supposed to be, at least in what I'm writing. And so I just kept going back and forth with new ideas. My first idea was I wanted to write something that was like an old 1940s-esque kind of like No Other Love, that song that Joe Sterling sings, and it's got that Chopin melody to it. And I wanted to be sort of like this kind of like, rocking 1940s kind of jazzy-esque sound. But then I realized I couldn't progress from there. And that was going to be a pure, that was going to be the situation where it was just underscore. So I was like, no, I need something where I have an idea of how it can progress and do all this other stuff. So the tremolos in the strings were the first thing that were like, oh, this is the vibe. And then from the tremolo sound that the strings make, then I laid out piano chords and picked the right piano library that has the right felt sound to it and stuff like that. And then the piano and the tremolo strings were my kernels that gave me the inspiration for the rest of the production as far as how I was going to develop that. And as far as progression, when this is probably not like to say about the clip, but more to say about me as a composer. I always think of things in 3 acts, even if it really doesn't make sense for it to do so. I don't know why. It's always how I conceive of things. So I conceived of this clip in 3 acts, and I scored it that way with some transitions into new material and transitions into new material. And so that's kind of how I was going about it, is road mapping everything in the 3-act structure that I conceived of it, and using the piano and tremolo strings as my bass palette, basically.
Josh, you happy for us to take a look at yours next?
Yeah, sounds good.
There's something special about the cinema, a place where we can escape from the realities of the world and lose ourselves in the stories on the screen. It's a place of magic and wonder, where we can be transported to faraway lands, witness incredible feats, and experience the full range of human emotion. Cinema has the power to move us, to make us feel something deep and true. It can inspire us to be better, to see the world in a different light, and to believe in the power of the human spirit. Whether you're a fan of action, romance, comedy, or drama, there's something for everyone in a good film. And the best part is that you can share it with others, laughing and crying together as the story unfolds before you. So next time you're feeling down or just need a break, remember that there's always a place for you at the cinema, where you can find joy, connection, and a little bit of magic.
Nice one. Does someone else want to start us off for this one?
Every aspect of the mallet percussion usage in this is so awesome. Even especially the sound design of the Q tube at the very end. I was like, oh, that's so sick. I felt so bad that I didn't score anything for that moment there. Hearing that, I was like, oh, that's totally what should happen there. But yeah, just in general, I love the usage of, I mean, this goes for the case of a lot of your music, Josh, where you use sounds so well in ways that the picture can shape, change around it, and it still fits miraculously somehow, or the textures of the music morph to the picture if the picture is unchanging, and yet they still work. There's a lot of blending, I think, that goes on in your underscores that just work so well. They always feel so fluid.
Wow, thank you. It's texture is my middle name.
It was absolutely wonderful, Josh. I love the subtle intensity to it, and it had a lot of nice driving force to it that carried it throughout the short, and you had a lot of lovely orchestration and subtle changes throughout the whole thing, and also a lot of great cuts and switches that landed up on certain cues. And it was wonderful.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, I'll just echo what the guys have said in that, yeah, I agree. The tune percussion and the mallet percussion was just felt so kind of elegant in a way that I've not really even heard it that way before, maybe. So yeah, the soundscape and yeah, obviously the texture was absolutely gorgeous. I really liked the start. It was it felt playful to start with, rather than just coming in with I know I did this as just like instant like piano, but yeah, it felt really playful and fun. So yeah, harmonically as well, it was very fun, like feeling like this like rising dissonant moments, but then it just kind of helped towards that like epic finish. So yeah.
And
Oh, thank you.
the saxophone usage in the noir was so awesome, because I was thinking the exact same thing when I was scoring it, where it's like, oh, we should just like put a producery moment where just like a little flourish of saxophone. I couldn't find anything that like was appropriate in like my library or anything, but that was it. Like if there was going to be a saxophone flourish, that felt so appropriate. That was awesome. I think it's cool too about like the narrator in this clip is so like, it's easy to shape. Like when I listened to your clip, I thought the narrator was speaking faster than the narrator was speaking when listening to my clip, and it's just because of how it's getting affected by the music behind it, and how, like the more playful nature of your of the underscore of yours. At first I was like, did we get different clips? This feels like it was like speedier, but no, it's how it affects it. It's kind of cool. It's kind of a non-point, but just
Yeah, I felt like at that black and white moment, I was like, I really got to cheese up this noir moment with something, without like having it be. It was like Swiss cheese instead of like like Gouda cheese. It was like a little holy there.
So Josh, do you want to tell us a little bit about your writing process for that piece?
Yeah, so my process for this one was a little bit chaotic because I ended up having to travel for shoots, so I had like a couple days to whip this together. So when I first started, I really wanted to do like an Alexander Desplat sort of really like quirky Grand Budapest type feel. So that's why it starts very like 3/4 time. And then I'm sort of a mixed bag as far as sounds. I feel like, my two biggest influences are Trent Reznor and Thomas Newman. So I'm kind of somewhere in a weird mix there. But as I got into like scoring things, I was just like, oh, the sort of Wes Anderson style is not working. So I started transitioning back to getting comfortable with the synths and things, and I brought those in. And I don't know, honestly, I improvised the whole thing. I was so rushed; it kind of pushed me to like just throw paint on canvas. So there was no real method to my madness.
No, that's cool. I mean, it worked out, and like Coulden said earlier about like you were sort of like shaping the visuals and the voiceover around your music really well. So obviously like the improv stuff like just works really well. Nice.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Alex's, let's move on to yours.
There's something special about the cinema, a place where we can escape from the realities of the world and lose ourselves in the stories on the screen. It's a place of magic and wonder, where we can be transported to faraway lands, witness incredible feats, and experience the full range of human emotion. Cinema has the power to move us, to make us feel something deep and true. It can inspire us to be better, to see the world in a different light, and to believe in the power of the human spirit. Whether you're a fan of action, romance, comedy, or drama, there's something for everyone in a good film. And the best part is that you can share it with others, laughing and crying together as the story unfolds before you. So next time you're feeling down or just need a break, remember that there's always a place for you at the cinema, where you can find joy, connection, and a little bit of magic.
Awesome job, man. Very, very cool.
Thanks.
Very cool. Does someone else want to, maybe Josh, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, so I was gonna ask you if you're like a Ravel consoles or like Boards of Canada fan. I was getting like really just like beautiful. You got this dissonant, almost like accordion synthesizer patch running through the whole thing. It's really cool. I also appreciated how you like went really quiet on the eyeball, the dramatic part. I love that. I almost dipped mine out completely at that part too. So it's really cool, man. It feels so nostalgic. I love that about it. You really nailed that, especially with you kind of reversing and unreversing samples back and forth. It's really cool stuff, man. I love that. It just feels like it's a memory. It feels like it's something you remembered. So it's really cool.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. I don't know who those bands are, but I'll have to check them out. And I'm glad you picked up the nostalgia thing because that's the main emotion I was trying to evoke throughout. So I'm glad it came across well.
Yeah, it played across like narratively as a memory, and I really like that. Yeah.
Thanks.
I'll just echo what Josh says in that like the sound design elements were really, really cool there. And like the overall choice of timbre was beautiful. Like I think that's the kind of thing that I would listen to as like just a standalone piece that like listening, as I'm walking down the street or something. So yeah, really awesome job. Yeah, I really like your style. And I like what I liked about that is that you didn't compromise, like you made the video fit your style, and it really worked, and it really came across sort of in the same way we were talking about with like you shaped the video to your style of music. So yeah, excellent job.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I love too how, like I'm starting off listening to it and it feels like, oh, this is a great like underscore, right? And this is there's no way that this doesn't just become a perfectly great fluid underscore to the whole clip. But then also, there's just these moments that feel so well, scored to the moment. Like I love how the production kind of blooms in the frequency spectrum more as you hit like the shot of the car chase, and like you opened up like some higher frequencies in the production, and it felt so right. Like it felt like we were like getting this development, stuff like that. And the whole time I was unsure of how it was happening, but it was happening, right? Because it was all this like really awesome kind of morphing amalgamation of sound design happening underneath. And yeah, like Josh said, with dipping out at the close up of the eye, like that's totally what should happen there. I never thought of that. That was a great idea, because it makes sense. It's such a close, intimate shot there, and you hit that moment really well. Yeah, I agree. It was a nice. I wonder too how do you draw your sounds from, or do you put out a certain sound, kind of like what I was mentioning before, where like I had the idea of strings and stuff like that, and things develop further because you've got such like a melding going on in your production there. Do you have like a certain sound that starts and you push from there, or to like a kind of a whole idea comes to you of different instruments at once? What's it like for you?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Well, I came up with a plan of kind of the emotions I was trying to hit and what I was going for. And I have, I made, those were all synth patches that I made on Arturia Pigments. So sometimes I have like a whole huge bank of sounds I've made. So sometimes I'll just take from ones I've already made, or, I'll hear something that I want that I haven't made yet. So then I'll make that synth patch. And this one, it was the main one, was that kind of reverse sound carried like as the main voice through the whole thing, and everything else kind of I was just able to fit under it and with it, so it all kind of melted together. And the reverse one I made, I used like the analog synth engine on Pigments, and Pigments is really great because you could like chain all these things together, and they have a nice visual way of putting it. And there's these functions you could draw, and I tied it to that, so the volume of the synth was going in reverse. So I didn't really reverse anything. I was just playing the synth, and it just, the way it is, it goes, the volume goes louder, and it sounds like it's being reversed.
That's sick.
Thank you for that, Alex. Really, really cool. So we got one more, which is my one. So there's one score left, that's my one. Before I show you this score, I'll just remind you that you can head over to our website, theqtube.com/library, to become a member here at the QTube. £1 a month gets you access to our whole library of clips. For £5 a month, I upload a walkthrough every month on each clip on how I wrote the score for that clip. Lots of people have seemed to find them very, very helpful in their own scoring, and obviously you can have access to how I wrote the score for this clip that you're about to see. And if you're really loving what we do here at the QTube, you can support us at £10 a month, which gets you access to not only the walkthrough demo that I've done for each clip, but the logic file that I worked in, the audio stems, the MIDI file, and an AAF in case you want to use it on any other piece of software, as well as feedback from me once a month on a piece of your choosing. Let's check out my score.
There's something special about the cinema, a place where we can escape from the realities of the world and lose ourselves in the stories on the screen. It's a place of magic and wonder where we can be transported to faraway lands, witness incredible feats, and experience the full range of human emotion. Cinema has the power to move us, to make us feel something deep and true. It can inspire us to be better, to see the world in a different light, and to believe in the power of the human spirit. Whether you're a fan of action, romance, comedy, or drama, there's something for everyone in a good film. And the best part is that you can share it with others, laughing and crying together as the story unfolds before you. So next time you're feeling down or just need a break, remember that there's always a place for you at the cinema where you can find joy, connection, and a little bit of magic.
Man, that is really unique, and I think I think this is one of my favorite parts about just the film industry in general. Is like it's so unique and it's so different how each person interprets the clip. So I mean, you've got such a great build, and you completely interpreted it in an entirely different way once you hit that sort of those kicks. It's so clean, and then I just absolutely love your return to the piano at the end. It's like a very like Dustin O'Halloran sort of ending. So good. You clearly got a good grasp on this. So really, really good job, man.
Cool. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah. Well, I am curious. Well, actually, I'll let them give feedback and then we'll talk about the process.
Yeah, I love like I talked about I've talked about this with Josh before about how like clips like this that are sort of trailer-esque, you know, or they often have just sort of by the way it's edited, just kind of an implied tempo to it. I feel like and when you're scoring stuff like that as the composer, you can hopefully find what that is and tap into what that internal tempo is based on the cuts and how it's all edited together. And I feel like you nailed what the internal tempo of that video was, because at no point did you need to like speed things up or slow things down, but you just like had the rhythm to it that just worked. throughout all of the different hit points that needed to happen throughout. So it was like, it was a pretty effortless, audio listening experience that way. Yeah, it was really awesome. Really awesome.
Cool. Thank you, man. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's like, yeah, absolutely what I was hoping for. And yeah, also what I was kind of worried about, like, in that it might sound a bit disjointed, but yeah, I think managed to pull it off in the end. So yeah, cheers. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was really fantastic, Archie. Wonderful job. And I liked how much motion yours had. It carried itself throughout the piece and throughout the film. And I like what Josh was talking about. I liked when those kicks came in and kind of changed the whole vibe, but you still had the previous kind of content you had still going over that stuff, but the way it influenced the whole thing was really lovely. And you wrapped it all up perfectly. So it was a really great job.
Wow. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, like Josh when I was writing it, like I was very limited with time, so it very much was like throwing stuff at it that I just kind of could. What was it you were going to ask, Josh?
Oh yeah, those little those little guys, and then your little bass coming in is those bass kicks are so clean. I was gonna ask you how you did those because I'm used to hearing people go like full sub bass, and I'm also used to hearing people do straight impacts. You were somewhere, your those bass hits are so clean.
Cheers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like the sound of like, just like a really tight bandpass filter on like, on the kick. So I really just like tightened it up as much as I could, like, and just, yeah, I love the sound of it being like sort of muffled. And then that helps like make it sound a bit cleaner if it's a bit muffled. And then, yeah, as well, I stuck a stereo delay on it. So, which kind of created this like thing, which helped towards the like the energy of the piece. So yeah. Cheers for noticing that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was the kicks, and it was also the sort of those thumps in the beginning. They kind of feel like someone sort of nudging you. It's like not too much. It's
yeah.
like, it's not too, it's kind of the perfect little nudge. And I was like, dang, those are really nice. They're really clean.
Cheers. Thank you, mate. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the process too much of how I wrote it because it was a little while ago. I mean, I think I wrote this before I even came to New York. So like I wrote this in like June. So yeah, but I remember I had this like bank of sounds that I downloaded, which was just like kick sounds and that sort of thing. I've been listening to a lot of like house music, like old British house music and that kind of thing. So yeah, like I was trying to like, I don't know, try and bring that into my work and like yeah, so I downloaded this like bank of new kicks and stuff like that, and then like risers and that sort of thing, and then like experimenting with like different types of tremolo and that sort of thing. So yeah, just I wanted to stick to like this kind of, I wanted it to have that nostalgic feel of like, nice piano, bit of strings to like, yeah, sort of create that nostalgia and like the celebration of cinema, because that's what like a lot of emotional cinema scores can be. But then I also wanted to take it into this like sort of like thumping house direction kind of thing. So yeah, I was trying to find a place in the clip for that. Yeah, and I think I managed to put it together pretty decently. So yeah, I was happy with it. And what you were saying, Calden, about the internal tempo, like, yeah, that's definitely a thing in like, it's very important to try and find that internal tempo. And I think it helped that I actually edited the clip. So I like kind of created the tempo myself anyway. So yeah, but yeah,
Nice.
Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate your feedback on that.
Yeah, I had a question about that too. Kind of going forward on knowing how to hit the tempo of something. I wonder, kind of like a question for everybody, what you do if you run into a situation where like you've scored something out, you've got like this musical idea, let's call it, and it finishes, but you've got like 4 seconds left until the actual like cue hit you're trying to go for finally arrives. And so you're like, damn it, I've scored the idea that I came up with, and now I've got like 4 seconds of I don't know what to do. Do you guys run into that? I ran into that with this clip too, where like I had an idea, it was like 8 measures long, and then I was like, it needs to be 13 measures, I guess. What do I do at this point? Do I go back and change things, or do I come up with improv and then land stuff like that? How do you guys deal with that?
Can I jump in, because I had it on this clip too, in that like piano motif that comes in right at the end was how I was going to start it, but like it just didn't work for like the tempo and everything. So I wanted it, so I was like, oh, okay, it'll work as like 4 bars at the end or whatever. So I'll just have it over the titles instead. So I just took the chord sequence from it basically and just based the whole piece around that chord sequence. But then when you get to the end, it was like, okay, this just sounds like an awkward amount of time between like the clip stopping and the titles playing. So I was just like, how is this going to work? But so there's just like in my tempo map in the project, there's just like an awkward like slow down and then like a little speed up thing that I managed to like have some piano notes just like playing and then like slowing down, that I've managed to just about make it work, I think. But yeah, I get that. I wonder how else you guys sort of tackle that.
I'm good. I feel like since I'm sort of an atypical, I come from like the film side, so I typically lean into sound design. Like I feel like with this one it's tough though, because I built a whole tempo map early on, and it was just not working. I mean, my tempo was going from like 80 to like 120 to like 135, and it was like super jarring. So I ended up just taking off the click completely and just doing it all by ear. But I think in those situations where I've got like 5, 7, 8 bars of just like space to fill, or even like 3, I just lean into reverbs and just like let it wash out for a second and come back in. And risers, reverbs, sound design, clicks, breathing, wind, all those kind of things help fill in like natural gaps in music, I think.
For this one, I usually try to make it as simple as I can for myself. So I just put on the metronome and I just play through the whole clip, just listening to different tempos until I find one I like, and just use that one for the whole thing. And then, if something doesn't line up, I just ignore the measures and stuff and just move it slightly, and then it usually ends up working out.
Okay, awesome. Anyone else have anything they wanted to say before we wrap it up?
I mean, thanks so much for thinking of us and inviting us out to this. This is cool.
No, absolutely. Like, thank you guys for doing this. I really appreciate you guys taking your time to score this, have fun with it, and do such an excellent job. Your different styles came through, and like they were all awesome. So yeah, love it. Cheers, guys.
This was awesome. Very fun. Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Yeah, I think we can wrap it up there. No better place to wrap it up. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for coming on and doing this. And yeah, cheers.
Thanks for having us, Archie.
Bye, YouTube.
Like and subscribe to YouTube.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There you go.
So that was my discussion with the guys. I hope you enjoyed that little chat. I certainly did. Really, really great guys, excellent musicians, excellent composers. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Like I said, head over to theqtube.com/library to become a member. And while you're here watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe and ding the bell to be notified when we release more like this on the QTube channel. We're trying to get to 5,000 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. If so, we're going to do a really cool giveaway. So tell your friends about the QTube. Anyone who's a musician or a composer who doesn't know about it, or a sound designer, or even a filmmaker, tell your friends. We do lots of cool stuff for everyone here at the QTube. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.